Hello, so the good news if you're watching, I'm not actually being fatally irradiated. It's just, as I've said, I think this old Radiac's got a resistor that's gone, so it immediately just shoots off the scale. But it's quite funny anyway, so I thought I'd just show you that at the beginning of the stream. So yeah, according to this meter, 300 Roentgen per hour. But of course, if I use the range switch, you'll see that no matter which setting it's on, 3 Roentgen, 30 Roentgen, or 300 Roentgen, it's permanently off the scale. However, if I do the battery test, you'll see that it's actually functioning correctly in that regard, because it's pretty much should be stopping in the red zone. Yeah, I think it is. If it wants to focus, there we go. So yeah, it's working on the battery check. So hopefully this will just be a simple job of diagnosing which resistor's gone in this using a multimeter, and then just replacing the burnt out resistor. Oh, it's got its name right on there, meter survey, survey meter Radiac number 2, or meter survey Radiac number 2. But yeah, if you put it on the actual thing, it's obviously not working properly because 300 Roentgen per hour. Off the scale, so it's more than 300 Roentgen per hour. But yeah, it's obviously the radiation level is not that. It's just the it's just basically something's one of the capacitors will have burnt out. Not capacitors, sorry, one of the resistors will have burnt out. So what happens then is basically the meter doesn't have anything resisting it, because how these work is the resistor basically forces the meter down to 0 depending on which range you're on, and then once the meter's set to 0, radiation overcomes a resistor to give you a reading. So that's how that works. But yeah, it's not really 300 Roentgen, thankfully. Anyway, we'll turn it off for now. But yeah, so what this will be is just diagnosing which resistor's gone in it eventually. Thankfully, I do have a mega ohm multimeter, which is what you need for these, because yeah, they had very, very high resistors in them. Well, if I turn every single one of my other radiation monitoring things on, none of them go to 300 Roentgen. So unless all my other meters are faulty, and that's the working one, I think that's just a faulty meter. You're wasting our time. Yeah, they went down that M17 guy as soon as YouTube started demonetizing all of the coronavirus things. Because as soon as they started doing that, though YouTube never claims they do, they simply just stopped sharing the videos. The views are still higher than normal, which is good. Don't forget to like the stream if you're just coming on, because that does help. But I'm going to do a coronavirus video tomorrow, although I'm not going to put coronavirus in the title. What I'm going to call it is my current recommended masks or something like that. And now I know a lot of this at the moment comes down to just simply what you can find available. That's not Israeli one, that's a German World War II mask. So like the opposite of Israeli. It was, you know, people who killed Jews who wore that mask. But yeah, I can see why you think it looks fairly similar to the 4A1, but that's a lot lower quality than the 4A1. But yeah. Basically, Daniel, to begin with, they were sharing all the corona stuff, and then they decided they had to demonetize it, and then YouTube doesn't want to share any videos to do with it anymore because they're not making money off of it. That's basically how YouTube works with any subject. As soon as they demonetize a subject, as much as YouTube claims not to, they won't share it. Because like Jorg Sprav and loads of channels have found that the second a video gets demonetized, your views on it just drop like that. But yeah, so thankfully it's doing quite well. But yeah, so the video I'm going to do tomorrow will be about corona. I'm just not going to put corona in the title or description anywhere, because if I do that, they won't demonetize it, and then it'll probably get shared. But yeah. Well, the interesting thing is they put a World Health Organization banner underneath each of the videos now, don't they? Which you have no choice of it being there or not. But yeah. Search RD40 RAG rather than searching NATO. Thank you very much, Ron. XM28. I don't have it in this room, so I can't check. I can check for you later, but I think the date strap's on the straps, isn't it, for the XM28? I'm pretty sure the back of the straps have a date printed like on the back of the harness, like so see my Israeli M15 here. I'm pretty sure on the XM28 they do the same thing as this, which is, if you look on the straps, but thank you very much for the donation, I appreciate it. If the light lets it focus, I'm sure they do something like that with the XM28. Again, it might depend on the manufacturer, but in general, just look all around the mask. With most masks, you'll find either inside, because some masks do it on the, you know, like rubber on the inside, you'll get some sort of stamp as well. If that's even visible. You can't really see it, can you, at that angle? See, I've just noticed under the chin bit on this as well, I think that was. Unless it was somewhere else, just strap bit showing. Ah, yeah, there's another one there as well. So I know this isn't an XM28, but I think it's the same thing. This is really hard to show on the webcam. But yeah, there's where my finger is there, it's not going to show up on the webcam, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm in the UK. The size stamp, I'm pretty sure the US always use small, medium, and large, as in SM or hours printed on the mask. So somewhere you should see a letter. If it is truly airborne, then no, not even P3 is good enough. Basically, you can't protect yourself without an air tank. But it's, you know, thankfully, I don't think it really is airborne at the moment. Some people have said it's airborne, but they've not provided any sources. I don't know. I imagine they can scan the thumbnails, Mike. But yeah, what I'm just going to do is my current recommended respirator protection as the title, and then just have a load of masks in the picture. But you'll notice that quite a lot of different people who are doing coronavirus videos at the moment are now not putting corona in the title or description, just because they said as well that YouTube is not sharing the videos anymore, even the ones like the proper doctors and that are making and doing updates. I don't know, I paid about 40 quid for mine, Zach. I mean, if you mean as a protective mask, no, because they're quite old and not very comfortable. As a collectible, they are really cool. P100 and P3 is the same thing. It's just Americans call P3 P100 when the rest of the world doesn't. I guess it's like clinging to Fahrenheit as well. Yeah, that's as far as I'm aware, Rag. It's like if you cough and that, it's on your spittle or sputum or whatever they call it, but it's not actually airborne as in proper airborne. Well, the thing is, the news are talking about it even more because the death rate is now officially higher than SARS, which is something. Is that South Asia respiratory syndrome or something like that? Severe acute respiratory syndrome, isn't it? SARS. The death total is higher than SARS now, even though everybody to begin with was saying, "Oh, it's not going to get higher than SARS." But it was fairly obvious, you know, early on it would be higher than SARS, simply just due to the fact it has a much higher R naught than SARS. So even if it kills less people, you know, out of every 100 people who get it, if it spreads and spreads and spreads much faster, then of course it's going to kill more people overall. Do you want me to show you again, email? I wasn't lying, but thankfully it's not due to actual radiation doing that. It's just that the resistor's gone in this. So hang on, turn him on, turn that up to there. There we go. But yeah, it's not really that high. It's just the resistor's gone in this one. So it's going to be a case of diagnosing which resistor's gone, then finding the closest modern equivalent to it so I can, you know, redo it. In reality, you'd see it saying basically 0. Like where the needle is now, where it's just moving a bit in my hand, that's what the needle would normally be doing anyway. Well, Daniel, with stuff like this, it's just due to age. When you've got really, really old ceramic resistors and stuff like this in US CDV 715s, they just go to age most of the time. This one was gone when I got it. It wasn't even anything I did with this one. But yeah, in general, if you mean with old Geiger counters and ion chambers and stuff like that, it's just simply the resistors die in them due to age because they're the old-fashioned ceramic type resistors, you know. And if you look, was made. I thought I had a date on it somewhere, like 1950 something. Oh yeah, 1953. It says on the bit on the screen. If you can read that on the webcam, 1953. So yeah, this is 60-something years old at this point. So yeah, it's not surprising that something made back then, if it's still got the original circuitry in it, something's gone. I'm amazed it works as well as it did. Oh, and for people who didn't know about this, you can run these off D-cell batteries. Just to prove it, let me just use this to open the thing. I did it up too tight, actually, the thing. No, it doesn't want to budge. Let me use my Swiss Army knife and see if I can budge it with that. Because I bought an electric screwdriver recently, so I've been doing everything up and, you know, undone and closed with an electric screwdriver, so lots of the things are really tight. It's just stops me getting wanker's cramp every time I'm, you know, opening and closing all these things. Remploy stuff is meant, thank you very much for the donation, first name, last name. Remploy stuff is meant to be very, very good. I think Chris has a load of it, who's sometimes on the streams, but I've not got any Remploy stuff, but I've heard it's really good. They're like the anti-flammable and CBRN ones, aren't they, the Remploy ones? I know with the stuff the armed police use in the UK, the Remploy stuff is the better of the two, because they have both Remploy stuff and the old Mark IV NBC suits just in blue. Right, okay, it's opening with this, right. Oh no, your mother. Tag me in it again. I'll look next time on Discord, which will be after the stream. But yeah, you can run these, despite what people say, on a single 1.5 D-cell battery. Basically, you can put D-cells in, one for the light and one for the filament. The filament is the actual detector. The other's just for the lamp. The 15 and 30 volt batteries, the obsolete batteries these used to take, they went in the middle bit there. And that was, you either use the 15 or a 30 volt. It basically just ran on an assortment of different batteries. The D-cells don't last as long inside because obviously they're only 1.5 volt D-cells. But the point was that, you know, where people say, oh, if you buy one of these, you can't use it. Assuming the bits inside still work or you repair them, you can run them off D-cell batteries. So that was just, you know, one of those things that turned out, thankfully, to be wrong when I bought them. So, yeah. It didn't require 2 D-cells, a 15 and a 30 volt battery in this. It's just you can run it off a D-cell, 2 D-cells, you know, a 15 volt or a 30 volt. Just to show you, the lamp actually works really well in this one. So if I open the lamp bit and put a D-cell in, I can show you how bright it glows. I don't know why, but the one, my MD3 I've got, which is where they retrofitted them, I did a video on it recently before I even got this Mark II. The lamp isn't as good in that one, even though I've tried replacing the bulb a couple of times and it just never glows very brightly. But if I put another D-cell in, I should have a spare down here somewhere. There it is. Don't know how much life it's got in it, but that'll be fine. Yeah, I can show you that the lamp in this one is surprisingly bright. Are you sure it's 1951 on there or not something else like a serial number you're looking at email? Because some masks will have serial numbers as well as production, like year numbers. But yeah, if I put this on with the lamp now, he says as the lamp doesn't actually even power on. It's interesting, or is it just that? Very strange. Let me just get the... Where did I put my Swiss Army knife? There it is. Yeah, I probably won't bother with that, Mike. I'll just... there we go. It's the weird thing where if you tighten it too far, the screw for the bulb, it sometimes goes off. But let me flick this light off and we'll see if you can see. Can you see the light on there? It's quite a nice little light on this one. Can't see it again, can you? But yeah, what I can do is if I just... There's a weird thing of this is that for some reason, if you fully tighten the screw where the bulb is, the light goes off. So I found that with the MD3 as well. There we go. That's where it's most visible there. If I hold it close enough, you'll probably see the lights on. Yeah, you can see the lights on from that angle. Because if I hold it here and then do the off and on bit, see? You can see the lamp actually works quite well. Yeah, this has a really good lamp in this one for some reason. So yeah, there we go. 300 Roentgen, but not really, if it wants to focus. Come on. Doesn't want to focus, does it? Oh well. But yeah. If you want to see something else really pointless of Geiger counters, I found out something quite interesting. Clear Geiger counter tubes get cascaded by UV light. So if I get this one, if it's got any battery left. Oh, good, it does. Okay. So yeah, see this one? I figured out as well, because this has a tube, which is just like a glass tube inside. They're actually quite good tubes, but if I put that light on there, see, it's still like background levels, a bit higher than it should be, 1.03. Right, now let me get to the UV light. There we go. So see, that's a UV light. Now watch this. It should start jumping up in a second when it next registers a thing. At least my other Geiger counter does. If I shine this UV light at it, with the same tube sort of design in it, this one isn't going up as high, but let me put onto beeping mode. We'll do counts. See if we can do it with counts. 186 CPM. The problem with this display is it's too bright normally for the yeah, hear that? I find that quite funny for some reason. And it's just these glass tubes for some reason. It's the Kajou one. Hype sells them. They're quite good for the lowish price of them. But yeah, for some reason, the Chinese glass Geiger counter tubes, I don't know why. Well, I kind of do from a really technical explanation, but I don't know if this is correct. It's that when you get runaway cascades in the Geiger counter, that's due to ultraviolet sort of stuff going on in the tube. So if you have a glass Geiger counter tube and you shine a UV light into it, it registers a really high reading. I've done videos, Gasman, on ones I've had ages ago, but I've not had anything recently. Well, UVC does cross into the X-ray spectrum, and UVC kind of burns your skin and eyes like beta burns. But no, it's just simply because it's a glass tube. Thank you again, first name, last name. I'd definitely like to visit the US at some point. When, I don't know, but I'd certainly like to at some point. Oh, I wonder if this UVB light here sets it off as well. However, I've not actually ever been. And at the moment, I played through Far Cry 5 recently, and then I bought the expansion kind of standalone thing from Far Cry 5. Right, let's see, does this light set off? There we go, that one does as well. Hear that? But yeah, it's, for whatever reason, it goes crazy. See, it thinks it's at 20 microsieverts from just doing that with a bulb. For those of you who can't see, it's just getting a bulb like that. And I'm just going to see if it goes up suddenly in a second. 20.11. Is it going to register another hit in a minute? It's quite slow to update, this Geiger. It's like every 10-15 seconds the numbers jump up. No, weirdly it's like jamming out now. Yeah, strange. But anyway, there we go. It's just suddenly gone to 45. Maybe it can't go up when it's constantly being hit. But yeah, it's a very strange thing with this Geiger, because this is any that uses UV light. So when I've got on my wall, if I put a UV torch on it, it just maxes out at 99.99 and doesn't record anymore. But yeah, it's just something to do with glass Geiger counter tubes, apparently, and UV light causing some sort of reaction inside them. What one, like the US CDV ones? I got those. I probably did, your mother, but I've not looked, so I've not got Discord open. Give me a moment. I prefer games like Stalker, yeah. Well, I mean, Stalker is an FPS, isn't it? But yeah, let me just have a look at your thing, your mother. Oh, that looks nice. So is that Mike's quiver? Yeah, that looks good. And then, yeah, the first picture is, yeah, of the actual crossbow. So that's one of the compound style ones. Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, I've played the original Fallouts, which I really struggle to get into, just due to age of them being top-down ones. Fallout 3 I sort of like. New Vegas I really like. Fallout 4 is okay. Fallout 76 is obviously a bit of a train wreck, but at least they've kind of fixed bits of it now. The issue I had with Escape from Tarkov was all the day one not day one DLC, but all the pay to win shit they did when they released it, because they did like, oh, if you spend this much, you can get this pack that gives you all these guns, and because it's an online game, that's kind of a shit thing to do. For most people, probably something like the Tai Chems or the Tyvek suits, cheaper than the Milsurp suits, and for most people, they're more convenient. The thing is, a lot of old military NBC suits, they're pretty heavy and bulky. So you'd probably end up going, oh, that's a pain in the ass to wear that. I don't want to use it. But yeah, if you're on about the old Fallout style Geiger counters, yeah, you mean US CDV 700, 715, 720s, those kind of things. If you didn't see the video I put on today, was on my US CDV 720, which is this one. This isn't actually a Geiger counter, it's an ion chamber, like that Radioactive was. But yeah, I don't know if I've got batteries in this at the moment. Let me check. Oh, I've got batteries in it, okay. So yeah, these, let's do a circuit check. There we go. I have to zero it again, but I think with this, it takes a minute to warm up anyway, so I'll probably have to re-zero it again in a minute anyway. But yeah, these are pretty cool things, but again, you're never really going to get the needle to move unless you get loads and loads and loads of check sources, because they're designed for doomsday level of radiation. Because obviously where it's a Roentgen per hour display, like that Radioactive, it's designed, for super high levels of radiation. Also, the radiation isn't even as high as where that arrow is at the moment. It's because they take a while to warm up, and I think in the manuals it says ignore like the first 10 or 20% of the meter on the lowest setting, because that's where there's kind of the margin for error of just the older analog tubes warming up and all that. The only place I can think of Ben Bear Jones to get GSR filters would be eBay, but again, it's completely down to if anybody's got them for sale or not. Yeah, I do love these old things, even if they're pretty impractical to actually own, for anything. Oh, and thank you very much again, first name, last name. Oh, is that like the stuff of atropine in first name, last name for like nerve gas exposure? But yeah, if you had a phobia of needles, you would not like them, would you? But yeah, hopefully he was all right, because the thing is, I know atropine itself is quite a dodgy thing. You don't really want to get atropine in your body unless you really need it as kind of like a survival thing. What country are you in, White Wolf? Apologies if I've already forgotten and you've said. But I can... The Lakeland one they've got on Prepper's shop and eBay is quite good. That's the yellow one I wore on a recent stream. Let me get that one up for you. But the Lakeland ones are very good. For what they are, anyway. They're not like heavy-duty suits. But, this kind of one. Right. I don't know what ships to Norway and what doesn't. But can you find something like this, or like those Tyvek suits? I don't really like, the Tychem. I don't really like the Tychem because they're made out of that plastic material that rustles all the time like a crisp packet. But for what they are very good because they're new. They're not like really old vintage NBC suits. Yeah, you think they do a plastic needle or something, wouldn't you, first name? But yeah, thank fuck it didn't have the atropine in, because I know atropine can sometimes kill people, because the point is if you've been exposed to nerve agent, you're basically guaranteed to be dead, so a very nasty antidote's worth it, because, you're either going to die anyway, or you might live with the antidote. But yeah, for people who are training, you want, like, no access to atropine, because there was a stupid thing I saw where people were actually buying atropine auto-injectors online from like Israeli kits, to only be used in the event of nerve agent. For no other reason would you ever want to use an atropine injector. And people are like buying it like, oh, but if I suspect I've been hit by nerve agent, I'll use it. So what's actually going to happen is they're going to have a false alarm. They're going to inject the atropine into themselves and probably kill themselves from cardiac arrest or something because of what atropine does. Yeah, I think atropine's similar to that, Daniel. I think it is like some sort of massive adrenaline thing that's meant to counter nerve agent. I don't know exactly how they work, but I know it's not something you ever want, to be given unless you're going to die otherwise. Because I know it makes people really, really sick, atropine, a lot of the time. Yeah, find another one, White Wolf, then. But yeah, that's the sort of thing you need to be looking at. If it's P3 filters, Ross, it would be absolutely fine. Because P3, P100 filters are the same thing. Right, so some good news. A parcel I've been waiting for ages that I thought I'd have to get a refund on. The seller randomly said they got it back for some reason, so they're dispatching it to me again, but on a different postal service. So that's good. That means I'll get that parcel, because for whatever reason it just failed to deliver the last time. Maybe the label fell off. And the Geiger counter Hype sent me. Here's the rest of the kit for it, like the box and that. But the Geiger counter's been stuck since the 26th of December. At like a sorting office, and as of yesterday it started moving again, so I'm to pay him for it when it turns up. But this is, I think, the current Chinese military actual Geiger counter. It has a lovely red display on that, look at that. But it goes from something like 0.01 micrograys, which is the same thing as a microsievert, all the way up to I assume something like 9.999 microsieverts, micrograys, which is the same as 9.99 sieverts or whatever. Has a nice little leather case for it. There's obviously like the belt buckle thing. Interesting smell to leather on that. Reminds me of some of the Chinese gas mask smells. And he also sent me like a cool laser pen thing. I think this has got a UV light on it as well. So that's a flashlight. Look. There's a UV light. If I shine it on my Geiger counter over there, does the number go up? It's probably too far away. Yeah, it's not close enough to work on that. But works on my watch look, so there's always that. And then the other thing is a laser pen. But yeah, so that's quite cool. Does this work as a pen as well? Oh yeah, it's actually got a pen in there as well, so this is pretty cool. I have no idea. I just know I want nothing to do with atropine myself, personally. And there's some Chinese writing on the side I don't understand. But yeah, the good news is I'm finally getting the Geiger counter from the actual set, which is the bit I actually want. The, that one. I don't know where you watched it, Little Vamp, but I've got the Blu-ray, so that's how I watch it every time I want to watch it. But yeah, if you didn't see at the beginning of the stream, I managed to get 300 Roentgen, but that's just because the actual thing's got a broken resistor in it. So yeah, if I flick this back on, $300 Roentgen. But that's just because there's a broken part in it, so it's not actually lowering itself for the radiation to overcome the circuit. See, if we look at this one, even though, again, with this, it should be pretty much zero, it's just it won't go to zero because of how the analog design on this works. That's what we're actually reading. I wonder, actually, if I put all my radium on there, will it move? Let's have a quick look. Probably won't, but it's worth having a little play. Is that moving at all? Not really. I'm not really expecting it to. I just thought it'd be interesting if it did. But nah. It's just, yeah, I thought that might actually do something, but it didn't. Oh well. The video on this went live today anyway for people who didn't see it, because so it's quite a cool piece of kit, but again, it's one of those ones that for most people is totally redundant and useless, because it's designed to measure doomsday levels of radiation you're never normally going to encounter in your everyday life. Well, as I've said lots of times, I'm not actually a prepper, so I won't carry all this gear. Because I've been getting lots of comments like that recently going, oh, you're some, you know, deranged lunatic, you know, doomsday prepper. You're never going to need this stuff. Well, you know, I buy it because I find it cool to collect. You know, I don't buy it because I actually think I'm going to need it. No, NBC filters would help to a degree, but what you actually want, CB Outdoors, is one of those fire escape hoods where they have a carbon monoxide filter that activates as soon as you pull the plug on it, because it works more like a rebreather. That's cool, Boldentowski. I've seen those for sale before, but I think a lot of them have said they're no longer radioactive just due to the age of them. Let's have a look. Radioactive. And see if I can spot any on UK eBay. Because I'd like to own one, but I never wanted to get one if it was... Oh, yeah, there's quite a lot on eBay. A lot of them they have to pay customs. Oh, it's polonium. So why did they put polonium in spark plugs? Because that's a really strong alpha emitter, isn't it? Very interesting. But now I know that you can get them that easily. I'll probably buy some. Well, I won't bother today, but it's interesting to know. No, I don't have a Hungarian M67. I've got the M75, whatever it's called, or 75M, the later model. How not to get ripped off on eBay, Vites? Well, you've got buyer protection, so just check around for prices before you buy something. Because, like, today I was looking at Geiger counters, and I sorted from price high to low, and weirdly, I found some Geiger counters that were, like, ones that are normally, like, you know, 30, 40 pounds, like, very basic models, listed for, like, $4,000, and you think, would somebody actually pay that? Maybe, if they're an idiot. I don't know, Math, but it's thank you for the donation. But it's, yeah, again, probably something like that, you know, because the annoying thing is the kind of abuse I've been getting recently, and I'm used to abuse on YouTube, so it's not really, you know, anything funny. Well, it's funny, but, you know, not for the reasons they want it to be funny. Is that I even normally get comments. Well, I said at the moment I've been getting comments like either somebody saying, this is a stupid video because you have not gone to enough extremes to show you how to protect yourself. Your advice will get people killed by the coronavirus. So, you know, on videos about masks, it's like, no, you should be wearing a full, like, hazmat level A suit and stuff like that. And it's like, no, nobody's going to bother wearing that. Or you get stuff like where people are saying, you know, like, oh, you're some kind of paranoid, crazy person. Why aren't you living in a bunker or whatever? You know, it's like you can't win. I mean, actually, there's lots of people who obviously appreciate the content, but it seems, I know you can't please everybody all the time, but it's kind of crazy that you get two extremes on the same videos, either saying you're paranoid or you're not going far enough. Like, the whole point I was saying in that, like, decontamination video as a disclaimer is, you know, this is what I'd be doing. Obviously, look at loads of different sources and make your own mind up. Yes, I have CB Outdoors. Now, as far as I'm aware, in the UK, it is not illegal to extract it from dead smoke detectors. In the US, it is. So, for Americans, be very, very careful if you decide to extract it. But yes, I have got Americium. I've got a bit more than this, but I've got a few bits in here, as you can see from smoke alarms. I've noticed that the amount of Americium varies a bit in smoke alarms. Sometimes it says 0.8 microcuries. Sometimes it's like 1.0 microcuries. So yeah, the funny thing with that in that regard is that how was I going to say it? Like our best smoke alarm, which stopped working recently just due to age. The reason it was so good, I think, was because it had 1 microcurie of Americium in it. So it was actually like obviously a really kind of chunky bit of Americium compared to some of the cheaper smoke alarms that obviously use less Americium. So, Americium. Let's get out the old British rate meters, where I have no idea when these were around, but it's got sort of 1980s electronics in it. Let's check the EHT is at the right level. Yeah, that's about right. Anyway, so if I set to GM, as in Geiger Muller, if I put this on the probe like that, you'll hear the gamma coming through, which won't be very high. There you go. But yeah, if I now just pop those on the desk and put that down on it. There you go. So yeah, there's some Americium. That's alpha radiation for the people that don't know. So unless you eat it, it's really not going to harm you. If you eat that, you're pretty much guaranteed to get cancer in your lifetime. Because yeah, Americium is. I'm just checking. I turned off. Yeah, I did. Right, I get cancer. Americium is a very, very strong alpha emitter and a weak gamma emitter. So those bits in there, if it wants to focus, they're very, very strong alpha emitters, but very, very weak gamma emitters. So, you know, in terms of gamma energy coming off of them, nothing I'd really worry about. But yeah, if you eat one of these, you are fucked. Just because of the huge amount of damage it will do as it goes through your body. So yeah, we won't eat any Americium. But yeah, one of those single bits of Americium, if I put them in my MD3, which is basically the retrofitted Mark II Radioactive, just because it's one that works, it doesn't jump to 300 Roentgen and stay there. If you put those inside the ion chamber from that, you get about 1 centigrade plus from a single bit of Americium, which is kind of crazy. So basically, if you swallowed it, you'd be being blasted by 1 Roentgen per hour plus by one of those little coins all the time it passes through your body. I definitely wouldn't do that mega cool, Daniel. Just lots of different books and online articles, Shane. It depends on what you're interested in, but a lot of the stuff, it's just a case online of shifting through stuff a lot till you find information that's correct but easy enough to understand. Because one of the big problems I found is you'll find stuff that's explained like Babby's level of education, where like if it's radiation, it's like lead stops gamma rays. Well, it technically doesn't. It's just very dense. So there's more of a chance, you know, of the neutrons being absorbed, whatever it is, as they pass through. But, you know, so you'll have one thing that says, you know, like lead is very dense, it stops radiation. And then you also have something that's written by a physicist who doesn't want anybody to understand unless they have a degree in physics. So it's, you know, a case of trawling through the internet till you find somebody who's a physicist who has explained it so people can understand it kind of way. And then eventually, you know, finding those things and kind of taking that knowledge on board. So when I explain stuff in videos, you know, I can explain it in hopefully an easy to explain way. What do you want to know, Swag? What is my favourite gas mask? The Avon CT12. Yeah, the thing is, CB Outdoors, is yes, you do shit the Americium pellet out after a couple of days. The issue is, as it's passed through you, your insides have just been blasted by so much alpha radiation. It's insane. Oldest gas mask question gets asked, I think, every stream. The answer is I don't know. It's going to be one of my interwar sort of early World War II masks. The problem is a lot of them have like the dates have worn off the rubber due to age, so I can only speculate which is the oldest. Yeah, FM12 and CT12 are the same masks, essentially, just CT12 doesn't have the drinking tube. Good Ghost filters vibes. This one, other than the FP5, this one and this one I'd recommend. This is the one I cut the bottom off recently so people could see the inside of it, just so I could prove it wasn't asbestos. And look, it's picked up hairs from sticking on the carpet. So that's a Russian dot filter, I believe it's called. And this one is a camera filter, is it? it's called, but they're like the really bulky big ABEC ones, but it is GOST threaded. Rain and wind all day. I helped Max walk the dogs earlier. And when we walked the dogs, we were quite lucky because the rain was only drizzling at that point, but the wind was really strong. Like 20 minutes after he got in from walking the dogs, it was pissing down all day, and it has been since. There was another case today, tactical wise, but it's not bad yet. But the problem is there's lots of people who potentially could have it that haven't been ID'd. Tomorrow I'm going to have to go to the opticians because my newer glasses, these are my older ones, the fucking frames snapped again. I was literally just wearing them on my face. Thought, oh, they felt a bit odd. Went like that, and like, oh no, it's falling apart again. Right, Shane. There's three main types of radiation. There's also neutrons, but that's really complicated. But you get alpha, beta, and gamma radiation, and named after the Greek alphabet. So alpha radiation is the least penetrating form of radiation, but it does the most damage if it gets inside your body. So alpha radiation comes from stuff like Americium. Certain radioisotopes can give off more than one type of radiation. Beta radiation penetrates a bit further, but it doesn't travel all that far. So beta radiation is stuff like strontium-90. Gamma radiation is like the famous radiation. It's kind of the stuff that shoots through everything, you know, and gets you no matter what. Gamma is the least damaging if it was equivalent in amount to whatever, because gamma spreads out as it travels. But the problem is, obviously, is that you can't hide from gamma because it penetrates lead, it penetrates steel. You know, you have to be as far away from the source of gamma radiation as possible. And, you know, put the most stuff between you and it. So, yeah, some radionuclides and things give off alpha, beta, and gamma. Some only just give off one type of thing. Yeah, I'm trying to think of an easy way to explain it. But the thing is, like, if you get uranium ore, for example, uranium ore gives off alpha, beta, and gamma. Alpha and beta, again, you don't have to worry too much about unless you get them inside your body. Very high amounts of beta will burn the skin. You know, did you watch the Chernobyl series? You know, like when Sitnikov goes onto the roof and he turns around and his face has gone all red. That's beta burns to the skin because intense amounts of beta radiation burn the skin like UV. But yeah, but gamma is kind of the one that is the traditional scary radiation. So things like that ion chamber I've been showing, like these earlier in the stream, these were primarily designed for gamma. It has a beta window on the bottom, which is basically designed to allow beta to penetrate it. They're not always that successful. But yeah, these were mostly the really high range ones, like this one, for example, that went on the times 100 switch to 500 Roentgen per hour, which means an hour of exposure and you're basically dead. These sort of meters were basically designed after a nuclear bomb had gone off, so you could walk around and take a reading. But yeah, if you start getting into the radiation stuff, there's loads of different things. There's like Geiger counters, ion chambers, scintillators. They're all different, you know, ways of measuring radiation. It's kind of a complicated subject, but yeah, it's a fun thing to learn about. But it's one of those things. The more you learn, the more you realize you don't know about it, and then like the more reading you have to do. Can you get an Israeli children's mask CB outdoors? Because that's probably the best one. It's the Israeli 4A1, just made in a smaller size for children. Years, Shane. It's just where I've been collecting the stuff for years. That's why it looks so messy behind me, because there's not really enough space in a you know, small house to keep all this stuff. But and I don't tend to sell it on. Like, I just find NBC equipment kind of the most interesting stuff, just because of like how horrible nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare is. But yeah, years of collecting, buying books, reading books. I have autism, so the, you know, knowledge tends to stick in my head, and it means I'm very interested in certain subjects, and other subjects I just don't read on at all. But yeah, a cool old Geiger counter I've got is this late model. I think it was Soviet one, which chirps and has an analog display, despite the fact it's you know, kind of like semi-modern digital circuitry. So what happens with this one is the needle actually moves. Obviously, green is good, yellow is scary, red is bad. Although I have a feeling this doesn't go to very high amounts of milliroentgens. So I think even the red zone isn't actually all that high. This was just one, you know, so you could look at it and go, oh, I know what the color code is. Yeah, if you want to see this go all the way up, I can do that very easily because you don't even need anything scary to make this one move. So here's a nice bit of torbanite from the Congo. So torbanite is a uranium sort of crystal / mineral, gives off alpha, beta, and gamma. But if I put this next to that, what you should see in a moment is this should go off the charts. Might take a moment to update because of the weird way it kind of does the thing, but yeah, there you go. Right, there we go. So yeah, if I open that up, it's a bit easier to expose it. I think the GM tube's on that side. There we go, yeah. But yeah, that's kind of a cool old one. But yeah, it's interesting as well how many kind of like minerals you can get which kind of give off scary levels of radiation. So that's, yeah, just torbanite. I think with torbanite, actually, apparently, and it's again like radium, where if you stick it near a webcam, you'll start seeing the gamma, you know, things fuck with a webcam. So if I put that close enough, so it's just like that, if you start seeing white flashes on the webcam, that's gamma radiation hitting the camera sensor. I don't know how obvious that would be anyway with this, but I can do it quite easily with radium, but yeah, I don't know if this is actually strong enough to do it, but it's still quite an interesting piece. Corona M40 would be absolutely fine for coronavirus. I had somebody having a go at me the other day. I'll get a bit of radium in a second so you can see the flashes. I had a guy having a go at me the other day because he was going, oh, why don't you think it's good that the M40 was made out of silicon? Even though I explained it in the video, because blister agents eat through silicon. And if you have a military gas mask, you want something that can survive something like mustard gas. Right, I don't know if the comment will have gone through though, Gary, because if you've posted a link, sometimes YouTube holds them, even on regular videos. But yeah, let me get a bit of radium, and I can demonstrate this. So you should definitely be able to see this for the people wondering. So I've got some radium in here. I think this is one of the hottest ones because it's got a load of old radium plane dials in it, as well as radium dust. So if I do that onto the webcam, what you should start seeing, yeah, I just saw one, some white flashes. Let me turn it this way and see if it's any better. I just saw one then. It's not the easiest thing in the world to see. Let me put this one side by side with it. Now that might be a bit better to do with this one. But if you see like white static appear on the screen, or white lines, I'm definitely seeing a couple of bits there. That's the gamma rays hitting the camera sensor. Because while radiation's invisible to your eye, it kind of messes with cameras. So you can see it in that regard. What if I do it like that? Oh, there's quite a bit coming off at the bottom of that. See that? But yeah, that's radium messing with a webcam. I'll do another bit there. Don't think this one's as good as that other one. Yeah, I saw some flashes then. A lot of it, grow prodigy, depends on the seal to your face. If it makes a good face seal, then possibly. The issue is if it doesn't make a good face seal, then it won't. Let me just hold this completely up to the webcam like that and see if it does it with this. Oh yeah, I'm seeing a bit. So yeah, every time you see a white flash, that's a gamma ray hitting the camera sensor. Yep. Let me. The last live stream was the Plague Inc. one. I don't think you donated on that because the only guy who donated on that was the one who always donates in Swedish krona. Which live stream was it? So I can go back and check. Because the problem is, Mr. Plant Pot, as much as I'd like to believe you, a lot of people claim they do when they don't, just to try and get a free invite. So if you tell me which stream it is, I can go back and check. But unfortunately, when I randomly ask people, you know, you have donated, you get like 50 people who haven't all start spamming their Discord IDs going, I donated, and then it's not fair for the people who have donated. Yep, actually, if you want to see flashes, I can literally get you a video up even better than the Chernobyl ones, which is filmed in like radiotherapy bits in hospitals, where they have like a bit of cobalt-60 or cesium, and they actually film the thing opening. Cobalt-60. It's just if I search cobalt-60, I should find a video. There we go. So if you want to see something insane, just jump through this video quickly. But yeah, that is in this video because they have a camera set up in front of a radiotherapy machine. And the link's not working now. It says, oops, something went wrong. I don't know if it doesn't work for anybody else, but that was a valid link. Yeah, it's the Van Allen bout, isn't it? CB Outdoors. Because one of the conspiracy theories about men not going to the moon was that the radiation is strong in space. But the point is, radiation doesn't initially kill you anyway, for most people, and it's just something they travel through. It's not like they sit in a Van Allen bout for days or whatever it is. Yellow NBC suit stream. Thank you, Ghost Jesus. I will check that now. Do you remember roughly how long into the stream it was you donated? Because annoyingly, with this, although I'm going to look now, I don't think I can only show the donations. I think I have to... I think if I do top chat replays, I can check 26 minutes. All right, I'm looking up. Oh, yep, you did. Thank you very much. Yep, you're being completely legit. Post your Discord ID in here and I will add you. Sorry, it's just I have to check those because I've had people lie before when they've not. Yeah, it's because it's a radiotherapy source Balding Telsky, so that's normally a bit of... That is a bit of cobalt-60, so it's an insane amount of radiation. Some of those things give out something like you know, it'd be an equivalent of Roentgens. It would be like 1,000 Roentgen per hour or something. Because when you have a radiotherapy cancer killing thing done, they expose you for like 5 or 10 minutes or something. All right, cheers, Miss Plant Pot. Argue now. But yeah, so that's why it's going crazy. Is just there's actually probably more gamma radiation there than bits of Chernobyl. Right, it says it didn't work. I'm just going to keep trying it over and over because sometimes Discord does that. Is it definitely a capital E on Eddie? I'll try it lowercase as well, just because sometimes Discord can be quite funny with capitals and just randomly not liking it. Right, can you copy and paste yours again, Mr. Plant Pot? Because Eddie7175 it doesn't like. But generally it's just some really silly thing with Discord that doesn't like it. But yeah, for the people who didn't know how radiotherapy works, it's where you basically use radiation to destroy cancerous cells, because radiation kills everything. as much as it's harmful to humans, radiotherapy done in a very controlled way, yeah, it's actually really good at killing cancers. Right, I'm just going to keep trying to copy and paste it in until it works then. But Discord sometimes gets really funny. I don't know why when. Yep, it's worked that time. Yep, there we go. Even though it was exactly the same thing as before, it randomly works. I do not get Discord why, you know, it doesn't just randomly let you do, Right, as soon as you accept it, Eddie, I can invite you. Right, cool. Invite to server. There we go, done. IOSAT pills. Do you mean iodine pills? Stable iodine? No, because I very much doubt I'd need them. And the thing is, if with stable iodine, it's not like rad away from Fallout. Stable iodine requires you to know that there's going to be iodine 131 in the atmosphere to protect you. You need to protect yourself from. You know, and you need to take it basically at the time of exposure or prior to exposure. So you can't say, oh, I've inhaled a load of Fallout dust, I'm now going to eat my iodine pill. It'll do fuck all at that point. They use the super chat button, or they can donate via Patreon below. But yeah, saturated iodine, you know, saturating your thyroid with stable iodine. Nice idea in sort of theory, but unless you knew prior to an event that you'd got it, useless. That's weird, Gary. It's either you've not got something linked with your Google account, I guess, that lets you do it, or you're in a country where you can't donate, because I know some people in certain countries can't donate for whatever reason. It's thorium stick, CB Outdoors, thorium welding things. I've got a few. They're quite weak, though, in terms of like what they give off. The most dangerous things I have personally that give off radiation are either some of the rare earth minerals, which are radioactive because of the high uranium content, like that torbanite I was showing, or just radium containing things. Old radium painted clocks and aircraft dials. Some of them, yeah, very scary amounts of radiation. The interesting one I can show you is the British compasses, for the people who don't know about these. I've shown these before, but British World War II compasses are insane in terms of radiation. Let me get one out. I'm going to have to figure out which was my most recent one that has the thing still in it, because I end up taking these out for safety reasons. I might get them. But, as soon as I find it, I can show you it, but not this one. When I find the ones that it isn't, I'll put them to one side. Is it this one? No, not this one. I've already removed the radium from there. Basically, it's just these old World War II marching compasses. They used to use radium paint in them, so they become very radioactive. No, compasses, not compass. Radium painted mirrors removed from these. I've actually got a video. Here's the one. I've got a video scheduled on why you should take these out. Yeah, let me demonstrate. So, we'll get this guy back out. Oh, thank you very much, Oxide. Let me add you, and then I will demonstrate the radium. I've got this sitting on my groin at the moment, which isn't a good idea, but I don't want kids anyway. And if I gave birth to any now, they would definitely be deformed from what I'm doing at the moment. All right, let me add you, accept that, and then I can add you. So, yeah, they used to put radium in these compasses. So, let me just invite you to the server, and then, yeah, let me demonstrate this. So, we'll have it on with the speaker, because you want the speaker on for this, because of all the fun. Right, it's already making that noise because it's near it. But bit of radium paint there. But yeah, the crazy bit is the mirror, because what they used to do is they put a big strip of radium paint on these for the mirror. If I can get open, this is really a tight class. So see that? Thank you very much, JM. I assume I'll probably stream about 8 PM tomorrow, but see that? That's the radium paint on the mirror. If I put that near the webcam, let's see if we get white flashes from this. It should, because it's quite a big bit. Probably some little bits, but yeah. But yeah, listen to this. If you want to see what that was on the scale. Right, so there we go. Is that 2000 it was at? Yeah, I think that was 2000. Oh, my Geiger's suddenly stopped working. There we go. Yeah, he's cutting out. It's probably not enough voltage going to the probe. That definitely should be enough now. Why is he cutting out? It's very strange. Unless it's actually literally a case of the radiation overloading the tube. Yeah, there we go. Oh, 3,000 plus counts per second. 3,000 counts per second from one little bit of radium on here. They're normally overpressure systems, Mega Cool Daniel, which means they basically have higher air pressure inside and outside, so stuff can't flow in. That's how it's done on modern ones. But yeah, so yeah, these are pretty interesting things. Now, I don't know, speaking of that CDV again, is the radium on here potentially strong enough to cause a reading on this one? Probably not, because again, this one starts in the like hundreds of milli-Roentgen kind of range. But yeah, let's have a look. I don't think it actually is going to do anything. Nah. Yeah, NATO. I think NATO did it earlier on, because in really old tanks they just had to put NBC gear on and gas masks. In more modern tanks, they use overpressure systems because it's like more comfortable for the crew and everything, and actually more protective. Yeah, thank you, Stalin. But yeah, that's the sad thing, is at the moment, as soon as they started saying people can't talk about Corona stuff on YouTube, all the views started shooting down again, which doesn't surprise me, but YouTube's constantly like that. 1 minute, they're basically like, oh yeah, people talking about Corona, we need to promote those videos. And then all of a sudden, don't let people talk about Corona on YouTube. I've already reviewed the Scott M98JM, so there's a video of it on my channel already. The M98 is the military variant, but the same mask, and I wouldn't buy the same mask twice just to get one without the drinking tube system, which is otherwise an identical mask. So yeah, look up Scott M98 on my channel. Very good mask, if you want my recommendation. I've got one somewhere. Where it is at the moment, fuck knows. Even though it's one of my best masks, in all honesty. To be honest though, Magic Platypus, at least I can keep up with the chat to a degree when it's like this. When it's, the annoying thing is when it is like 500 viewers, as good as that is for me in an extent, it's annoying because I can't actually really reply to people properly. Also, again, it's like when I get so many comments a day, I can't reply to them, and that annoys me because I like replying to comments and answering people's questions when they've got them. But yeah, when you end up getting something like 30 plus comments an hour and you've been out for loads of the day, you just can't catch up with the comments. But yeah, so if you ever buy, what I was getting at is, if you ever buy an old World War II marching compass, be very careful about the radium paint inside. You eat that, you're dead. Inadvertently if it chips off. Speaking of compasses, this one doesn't have radioactive paint on, but it's really cool. An old East German compass. Not as actually well made as the British ones, even though I love East German stuff. Yeah, East German marching compass. Let's see how well this fluoresces under UV, because I bet it's yeah, that's cool. It's a much more modern than radium style paint, so yeah, that's why it doesn't instantly stop glowing like radium as well. Yeah, it's still good. Like, so I'm saying this is a nice amount because at least I can somewhat keep up with the stream. But when right, I'm glad you found it. But yeah, as I said, it was good to begin with because YouTube actually did start sharing the videos, and people suddenly had an interest in masks and things. And then yeah, all of a sudden it was, ooh, we don't want people talking about that. That's not politically correct, is it? What's in a pandemic kit then, Stalin? If you just mean a respirator and stuff like that, I think it's just sensible to have that stuff anyway. Because if you look up like all the things you might need a respirator for, there's a massive list, and I don't think a lot of that is like crazy prepper stuff. The biggest danger for people who live near big roads or train like railway lines is transport vehicles, with chemicals on crashing or derailing, because there's been like events like that have killed people, quite often in countries. If you look at like the news, where like a tanker truck full of a chemical crashes, it sets on fire, makes poison gas. If you've not got a mask, you're fucked. Tritium is barely radioactive, Ron. It's a very strong beta emitter. It's very low energy beta. So the beta energy from tritium doesn't actually manage to get through the glass for the most part. So if you ever get old tritium things, if you break the glass and inhale the gas as it escapes, that'd be very bad for you. But in terms of if you put a Geiger counter to tritium, you won't get much coming out of it at all. Because, yeah, that's why tritium is still used. Tritium is what they used to replace radium, simply because it was a lot safer. Filter, respirator, NBC suit, duct tape, emergency light, some sheet, plastic like a tarp. That sounds all good stuff, Joseph. As long as it's not stupidly overpriced, yeah, that's good stuff to have. That's cool. Is it just very good light amplification then on that one, legendary metal? Because with night vision, you get so many different types. Do you know what Gen it's equivalent to? Because Gen 2 stuff is amazing. All my stuff I've got personally is Gen 1 Plus. And I've been lent at the moment a Gen 2 Russian sort of binocular thing that's amazing, but I need to send that off soon. That's not too bad then, Joseph. I say for that, if the stuff in it's good quality enough and it's easy enough to get, you might as well go for it. If it's a genuine Polish MP5 Magic Platypus, they're pretty good. Issue is a lot of the time it's the old French Afro masks being sold as MP5s. Probably about 150, Nate, but I've given some away to friends and family members now who wanted them for, all the Corona stuff. Which is good because that might clear up some space. The thing is, I don't really have any interest in selling them, even though I could make a load of money back if I sold them. I just don't really have any interest in doing it. So I'd rather just more give them to family members or whoever who might be interested in masks. I don't know. Sadly, I don't have any Ghost Jesus. I mean, I imagine a lot of the Rhodesian camo was made before night vision was a massively issued thing. Obviously, it existed at that point during the Rhodesian Bush War. Modern reprints of Rhodesian camo, I have no idea. It's a fucking cool camo, Rhodesian brushstroke, but whether or not it has any IR defeating capabilities at all, I don't know. Also, this arrived, I think it was today or yesterday, that had been in transit for ages. There's one thing I don't like about this design. It's either gas on or gas off, so you can waste the butane in it. Because if you do that, it doesn't light. If you start doing that, I have to open it a bit more. Oh, it doesn't even want to light now. No, I reckon all the gas has leaked out. But that was the one Mike recommended. Interesting design, probably not worth getting, just simply because it's really easy to accidentally leak the gas out of it, because it's not one that lights and then you hold a button down. Because you turn the dial from basically... Oh, it's working by the sound of it now. Oh, and it's gone out again. Yeah. In theory, if everything went right with it, Mike, it would be good. The issue is, it's basically got this on-off switch design where you twist it and then light it. You can hear it's got gas escaping again now. Oh, almost lit then. But yeah, so the issue with this sort of design, I'll do a video on it, is if you in your pocket knocks it like that, that's all you need to do. Gas is all going to leak out, light is empty. Yeah, very good striker. I wonder, oh, you can pull it out. So yeah, that's a good thing. You could recycle this into different lighters. Yeah, look at that. Very good striker. Yeah, the issue is the gas release design would be much better with a push down button or a locking like side to side button. But yeah, striker is very good if you look at that. Yeah, that is a good striker. It's just an issue that they came up with a really stupid gas release system. I've already done videos. Look back at my old ones, Cody. I don't want to do more videos like that just because YouTube's getting really against it now. But yeah, if you look, the thing is, if you subscribe to me recently, just look through my old videos. There's over 1,000 on there. You'll probably find stuff you find interesting on the old videos. Yeah, have you seen the Brent video, Ghost Jesus, where he tests Rhodesian brushstroke in the desert with a load of other camos, and it actually worked better than lots of the proper desert camos, even though it was kind of like a savanna sort of woodland camo, wasn't it? Like jungle type camo. I find tanks cool, but sadly tanks aren't very easy to collect for somebody like me. So I'm more into stuff I can actually buy, you know, and get. Sorry, I just had a message pop up on Discord, so I'm just going to close that because obviously I can't reply and read Discord while I'm reading these messages. Argon's quite nasty, isn't it? What? So if it leaked, don't leave the building because they'd vent it outside and then you'd inhale it if you left outside? Is that what you mean? Oh, I've been on an hour and 11 minutes now. I'll probably finish the stream fairly soon, but thank you for all the donations, everybody. Something quite cool I do want to get, but I'm going to have to wait till at least 1 or 2 paydays, and then it's going to be if I can afford it. You know, like spare money rather than wasting money I shouldn't spend on it. In China now, they are doing X-ray cameras for like 300 to 600 odd pounds, which is, you know, like $400 to $700. They're like the dental X-ray type ones. So what I could do if I got one of those is take pictures of a kit so you could see what it looked like inside of the X-rays. And I could, of course, generate X-rays of it to test certain like radiological things. But yeah, because the problem is I've tried to make X-rays before by like running triode tubes off of high voltage supplies, and generally something always breaks when you do that. Do what? Give off radiation, Jack? X-rays are radiation. X-rays are just gamma rays generated generally using electricity, not from a radioactive source. If it was the one Fred 505 earlier that said, did it look like it was worth buying? I said, yes, I won't bid on it, but yes, I would say it's worth buying or bidding on. I know in a lot of old tanks, they used to use argon in the fire extinguishers thing. So it meant if there was a fire in your tank and you pressed the fire extinguishers, it would kill the crew in the tank anyway. So it was quite pointless. Well, personally, I'm not going to bid on it. I'm just saying because I don't want to buy one because I've already got a load of German masks. But I'm saying if you are interested in it, then sure, go ahead. I said it's worth bidding on, but I wouldn't personally, just because I don't have any need for any more masks at the moment. And when I'm getting more masks at the moment, I'm getting modern ones that are in most people's price range to evaluate if they're good or not, kind of thing. Oh, I've got a Dacia Sandero mega cool, Daniel, so that will give you my taste in cars, something that just works. I used to have a Golf Mark IV, which was great fun, GTI, but the Sandero is a lot more practical because it doesn't burn through my money with bits that constantly need repairing due to age. So I could actually, that was the crazy thing with the Sandero. It was a top-end one with the actual quite nice engine in it. And because it was an ex-showroom one that was pre-reg, as soon as they sold it, I could get it for like 9 grand, not 11 grand. And, you know, that was a brilliant price for a brand new car with like 3 years warranty on it and everything. Nothing wrong with Dacia Sanderos. Cool if you do get one, Frosty. I've got the S10 on the mug at the moment. The lighting makes the bottom look blue, but it's not blue. That sounds like a very good deal, Sparrow. I don't know normally how much they are, but considering the helmet's like normally £200 to £300 plus, getting a couple of other accessories for the helmet for that price seems very good. I mean, I'd probably pay 90 quid for one, but I wouldn't at the moment because I need to wait for a load of my, money things to come in where I've just bought a load of shit recently. But $5,000 for an XM28. I mean, if it's unissued, that's still an obscene price. Yeah, it's a GM30 thread by the look of it, which is the German World War II mask before the GM38 sort of replaced it. I don't know how comfortable it would be to have a gas mask under a hockey helmet. But it'd work. You couldn't do it the other way around for obvious reasons. But... Anyway, I'll be going off in a minute. Probably not. It's harder to get the M67 than the M75 or 75M, whatever it's called. But they were kind of mass-produced cheap masks. We had a new case in the UK. The death toll now, Salty Tide, is higher than SARS. We knew ages ago it would be, but the media was claiming it wouldn't, and now it is, and then now they're acting all surprised when it was obvious that something that's very infectious, that has like maybe a 5% mortality rate, was going to get higher than SARS, which was a higher mortality rate but barely infectious. Thank you, Frost. They're a bit itchy because it's obviously old wool type sweaters, but they're very cheap on eBay and they're very warm. That's why I was wearing it today. Walking dogs in, the wind and rain we were having. I had a raincoat on top of it as well, but... Right. Black powder guns in the UK, somebody might have to correct me on this who owns them. As far as I understand it, you're legally allowed to own them without a firearms license. If you want to shoot them, you have to register them on a firearms license, but lots of people probably don't bother. The problem is that as much as you can buy them without a firearms license, gun dealers generally won't sell to people without a firearms license to cover themselves. So, some random idiot doesn't buy one and then go and shoot people with it. Now, the thing is, Daniel, it works absolutely fine. So, yeah. If you can, the thing is as well, when I was looking, if you looked at the cheapest cars you could get from like Volkswagen, Ford, and all that, they are actually technically worse than the Dacia, even though they cost more because you're paying for the brand. I've not heard of that at all, Ghost Jesus, but let me look that up. That sounds interesting. I can't even see images of it on Google Images searching that. I can see British Mark III suits, and I know what those are. I gave Mike a Mark III suit not all that long ago. If the MM1 is in good condition and you get a modern filter for it, Sean, yes. The only issue is MM1s due to age. There's one over there with a tank helmet on it. Aren't always, going to be in good condition. Yeah, the issue is, Richard, as I was saying, I think it's that a lot of places won't sell them to you. Like with a lot of these laws, it's like you can legally buy them, but the issue is somebody goes, "Oh, I'm not going to sell it you because if you might get me in trouble." It's a bit like let's see you, Daniel. I think it's like one of those annoying things where there's a load of other things like that, you know, where you can own something without a plot, you know, without falling in a certain category, but the people selling them want to be really careful that they don't get any shit later on from it. What, like a Jedi robe, Ghost Jesus? Or like, oh, let me have a look at the picture you sent them. Oh yeah, cool. So yeah, it looks like a Jedi robe. So yeah, it is a British Mark III NBC suit by the look of the design. Then it's just in brown, like Nutella brown or whatever they called it, rather than being green. I like the look of that, to be honest. Might be Nutria rather than Nutella, but you know what I mean. That kind of brown, kind of spreadable paste. Yeah, because people are both panic buying Salty Tide, and there's people buying them just to resell them at like a 10 times markup. Yeah, that did look cool. I was seeing a thing of that. Was that the Instant Legolas, or was that the Merlin one, or something he called it, which was like where you can get a longbow and then it has a repeater mechanism for the longbow, which was really cool. So it's kind of like turning a longbow into a crossbow, but it wasn't. But it was still really cool regardless. Is that a compound, Gary, or a recurve? Either way, it would be powerful if it's 250-pound draw weight. Obviously, if it's a compound at 250-pound draw weight, then it's even more powerful just due to the power of the mechanism. It's just such a shame Blades and Bows close because of, you know, the UK laws getting worse. Because as a lot of these new crossbows come out, they probably turn up on Blades and Bows for quite a good price. Especially because with a lot of the, I know this wouldn't be the case of Excaliburs, but with the like Mankung and Polan crossbows, they used to generally sell them under the real names, not fake brand names, for a good, you know, good bit off. But anyway, I'll go off now. Thank you very much for everybody that donated. That was a really good lot of donations tonight. So that goes towards all the shit, you know, I've been buying recently. If people are interested, I might order one of those blue GVS Eclipse masks or whatever they're called, which is kind of another budget brand of this type of mask, just by a different company. No, who's Rune Rebel or Rune Rebel? Rune Rebel. Name sounds vaguely familiar, but yeah, if people are interested, I might get the other like very budgety kind of one like this, GVS Eclipse, because I think they're £20 to £30 in the UK. And I'll do a review on it just because, again, it's a mask you might find in stock somewhere if you're worried about corona or just want a particulate respirator. The words I would use, Sean, because there's several words you can use, is gas mask as one word, gas mask as two word, respirator, maybe chemical mask. I find with Geiger counters and lots of radiological things, you need to know like 50 different words for them because they often have different names. Rate meter, Geiger counter, Roentgenometer, Roentgen meter, dosimeter, ion chamber, survey meter. They have loads of words. Oh, thank you very much again, Chris. I really appreciate it. But yeah, thank you to everybody that's donated. I do appreciate it. I'll end up ordering one of those masks, I think. So I'm sure the donations in this stream covered it. And then I can... yeah, you mentioned him, Mike, didn't you? Yeah, now you and Little Vamp have mentioned it. It's completely, you know, gone back into my head what it was. But yeah, shame, isn't it? But hopefully he gets a lot of his stuff back and he can get a lawyer or whatever. But yeah, thanks everybody. It's been a great stream. I will stream tomorrow, probably 8 p.m., 9 p.m. sort of time again. Can't guarantee it, but I'll definitely stream tomorrow. I just don't know the exact time yet. My main thing tomorrow, as well as doing a video, is having to go to the optician with my broken pair of newer glasses. These are my older ones, and say to them, they've broke again. Sort me something out that's not going to break. Anyway, yeah, see you all. Goodbye. Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening.